Good evening. The time is now 7 o'clock, and I would like to call the Beloit City Council meeting to order at this time. First order of business is call to order and roll call.
All councilors are present.
Thank you. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. May you all stand, please? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, special orders of the day and announcements. We have none. Item 4 is public hearings. We have none. Item 5 is public comments. We have reached a point on our agenda where citizens may come forward to speak on things that are not on the agenda or possibly on the agenda as well. We do ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. I will not cut you off, but will give you a friendly reminder that you have approached the 3-minute limit. We do ask you to refrain from personal attacks on staff, council, anyone else. If it heads down that road, I would ask you to sit down immediately. As I call your name, you can come forward, state your name and address for the record. If you did not have an opportunity to fill out a sheet, this is an opportunity for you to come forward at this time as well. The first one that we have is Matt Schulte. Come on down and state your name and address for the record, please. You need to come down. You got to come down. You got to come down to the podium. Then you want to state your name and address for the record.
Matt Schulte, 6087 and 6111 State Line Road.
Okay, thank you.
Year and a half ago, I talked to a guy named Mike. I believe he's the city engineer. They built a factory across the street from our house. Looks like they're going to put another one in. And I was concerned because they had the entrance right across the street from our houses for all the trucks.
Okay.
And, you know, the employees. Well, I thought it would be better if they came off of Willowbrook Road instead of right in front of our house. So the way he explained it was that it was just going to be a warehouse. We really don't have anything to worry about. But the way it turns out, it's got truck traffic 24/7.
Okay.
Get woke up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning every night. So would like something done about that. Whether it be no shipping and receiving from 10 to 7 or an alternate and put a road in off of Willowbrook instead of having them all come down State Line.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 24/7.
Okay. What I'll do, if it's okay with you, I'll refer this to the city manager and have her get in touch with the engineering department, kind of see what we can come up with, and then I would ask her also if she could get back to the council via email or something of our status and what can be done, if anything can be done. So, and then also if you could follow up with Matt, Mr. Schulte.
Yes,
Well.
if you can leave your contact information with me, I'll be happy to get back to you. This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay,
Happy
Lori,
to look
can
into
you-
it for you.
If you could like, put your name in, like your number and everything, and give it to the city clerk.
Okay.
Well, his number's not on here.
Yeah, I don't-
So we
I
just
didn't
need his
pull my
number, and we can
Or
get
an
his
email
number.
address or both.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
And then Lori, give you that, Lori.
Yep.
Okay. The second person is Alice Blue. Please come forward and state your name for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Alice Blue. I'm here regarding my business, Badger Spirits, which is located at 2621 Prairie Avenue. I was here earlier in the year requesting that we could open up early on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I understand we're able to, which is a Sunday. I understand we're able to open up earlier on New Year's Eve, but now I would like to request that we're allowed to open up by 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve, this is an ordinance change, I believe. Christmas Eve is the biggest sales day of the year for us. It represents a big part of our business, and by not being able to open up until noon because it's a Sunday, you put us at a disadvantage to the surrounding communities. So I hope that you would allow us to open up earlier. I think Christmas Eve only falls on a Sunday, maybe once every 10 years, so it's not a forever type of change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Elliott, please.
Hello, my name's Rick Elliott, 2222 Milwaukee Road, and I'm representing Jackson Monument as well as Wisconsin Association of Monument Builders. I've been to some of your workshops and city council meetings expressing my concerns. I was at the workshop. I like the new burial options for cremations that have been presented. The ossuarium is something that's a public purpose that's needed. So are the columbariums. My dispute is with you selling the columbariums as the city. This impacts me as an unfair competition due to the fact that the city does not pay sales tax, or excuse me, a use tax when they purchase these columbariums from their vendor. The other thing that it does creates a negative economic impact due to the fact that people are going to be wondering, what is next? Who's going to be next? Car dealers? Are we going to sell cars? Are we going to be selling food? You know, clothes? Where is the city going to stop as far as competing against private industry? Now, there is something in the with the Unfair Competition Act that comes down to an agreement between yourselves and mine as far as not competing against me, or you are, which can come down to a public relations issue. As far as you selling the columbariums, there is a public purpose doctrine in the state of Wisconsin. And since I'm already offering this option in the city, as well as all my competitors, which number in about 12 to 15 within 40 miles, as well as the funeral directors, you do not have a public purpose to allow that to happen and to sell those. And that could bring legal action against the city. So I just want to encourage you to investigate this further before you vote on this, because I don't want to have to bring legal action against the city or encourage that through the state. But if I deem to, I will. This is my livelihood. I've been doing this for many years, and I have gotten no feedback from any of you as far as, you know, the legalities of doing this. So I'd encourage you to investigate that and check it out before you do vote on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Those were the three individuals that signed up to speak this evening. Is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening under public comments? Second call, anyone wishing to speak under public comments this evening? Third and final call, anyone wishing to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing no one else, I would close that portion of the agenda and move to item 6, consent agenda.
All items under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda.
So far, the consent agenda consists of items 6A through 6F. Is there anyone like anything removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda from items 6A through 6F. Is there such a motion? Motion by Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Blakely. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item 7, licenses, please.
Item 7A is a resolution approving 2017 to 2019 applicants for alcohol beverage operator bartenders licenses for the application period of October 6th through the 27th. You have before you 9 applicants, all being recommended for approval.
Okay, is there a motion for approval? Motion by Forback. Is there a second? Second by Jacobson. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of item 7A say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Item 8, ordinances, please. 8A.
8A is a proposed ordinance to amend Section 3109 of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit pertaining to closing hours.
Attorney Krieger, please.
This ordinance was drafted at Ms. Blue's request to include Christmas Eve as a day to open their stores instead of noon at 9 a.m. The current ordinance does allow New Year's Day or New Year's Eve day to have earlier opening hours, and so staff felt that this request was reasonable and drafted the ordinance accordingly. So I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
And this applies to everyone?
It applies to everyone.
Okay, just
Yes.
wanted to make sure of that.
Class A establishments.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. So it doesn't seem like we're applying to one business only.
No. Yep.
Okay.
The request came through Ms. Blue, so.
Okay. Well, but before we make that motion, I want to do something. Councilor Blakely?
This is a discussion comment.
Okay.
the right time. Well, I just wanted to say that essentially, already I favor the ordinance. I don't know specifically the history of our local ordinance regarding opening times, but I do think it comes from a history of, I don't want to use the word conservative, but a very traditional attitude toward stepping back away from Christmas, for instance, so everybody can go to Mass. I don't think it's a matter of everybody anymore, and I don't think we need to be so puritanical about it. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, what I'm going to do is, this is on the agenda for first reading. Have we met any questions, comments from the residents or neighbors or anything?
I have not heard any either way.
Then what I'm going to suggest, and if someone wants to make it a motion, if not, we can move on as usual, but I would suggest that we suspend the first reading and move directly to a second reading.
I would make that motion.
Motion by Pressure to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Second by Forback to suspend the rules. All those in favor?
I just want to make sure, one thing. Does this meet the needs that Ms. Bew was talking about then?
Correct. It allows all Class A establishments to open 3 hours earlier on Christmas Eve day,
Okay, I just want to make sure it meets the needs of.
when that day is on a Sunday.
When it's on Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is just for this time only, or would it be whenever? Now, so let's say it happens again on another Sunday, will they have to come back?
If it occurs on Sunday.
The current ordinance allows on New Year's Day, if it happens on a Sunday, to open 3 hours earlier. This adds to that list Christmas Eve day. So
Got it.
whenever Christmas Eve day or New Year's Eve day happen on a Sunday, they can open at 9 a.m. instead of noon.
Got it. Okay, there is a motion and a second to suspend the rules. All of those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we suspend the rules. All those in favor of approval, say aye. Oh, sorry, back up.
Yeah.
I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Preschel, second by Duncan. Now, all those in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. Thank you. Item 9, appointments.
There are none.
Item 10, council activities and upcoming events. And my thing just went off. Councilor Jacobson. You're on. You're on. You're on.
Thank you for remembering my name this week, President Levy.
You did notice that earlier today. I kind of paused a couple times. I'm like, okay.
Thank you. It's Jacobson, thanks. I'll make it brief. Last week I was with Shauna and the DBA, and we had, she calls it fun with lights, which is a nice way of saying we just plug in a bunch of broken lights from last year on the ornaments that are hung downtown. So they should be ready to go, and it was fun, that's for sure. Also, I went to the Racial Justice Conference with 2 of my colleagues up here last week, and it was fun. Also, it was very informative. It was an all-day event, but it didn't feel like it took all day, so I'm glad I went, and that was a great event put on by the YWCA. Also, on Saturday, I went to Doves and Diamonds with my mom, and didn't spend too much money, but spent some. So it was nice. It's a good event for hospice, and I've been busy. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you. A couple things. I spent some time going around from school to school talking about local government, the joys of it to high school and college kids. I went with Janesville City Councilman Jen Jorgensen and went to Beloit Memorial and talked to quite a few classes about what it's like to be young in politics, what's local government like, and even some public speaking stuff, because that's why we got invited. It was about a public speaking class and then some government classes tagged along too. Also did this at UW Rock County and UW Whitewater, my school, so that was a lot of fun, staying on campus till about 8 at night talking to people about public speaking. But overall, I think it was a great thing to have them see young people getting involved, trying to sell Beloit to the different groups of people, especially those that just plan on graduating in the spring. I told them how great Beloit is and that if they need a place to live, Beloit's always looking to find new residents. Also, youth hockey season began. That's something I've been doing the last couple seasons now, and I've got a fun group of kids. We began the season this weekend. Wasn't exactly the outcome we wanted, but I'm going to be really excited to take these kids and see what happens with them. So If you haven't been involved with youth hockey, get a kid involved. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't done skating at all, we have a great ice arena. Definitely come out and check it out. It's definitely a fun activity to do. Besides that, my one upcoming event that I know of is I'm going to Rock County Christian to also speak too. So I'm making the rounds right now. So it's been a lot of fun, but that's all I got right now.
Thank you. Councilor Blakely.
Recently, I had a chance to speak with my microphone on, and I'm happy about that. I got to attend the NAACP's annual Freedom Fund dinner banquet, along with President Levy. He was there already before me. And Chief Liggett was also at our table, and other representatives from Beloit for a very inspiring evening. So I was glad to be part of that. And then, as Beth was saying, along with Councilwoman Duncan, we were at the YWCA's annual Racial Justice Conference held up in Janesville this year. It was extraordinarily inspiring. And she may not have felt like it was a long day's event, but I was feeling it by the middle of the afternoon, which explains the picture of me with these two beautiful ladies on Facebook. But I was happy to be a part of it. It was definitely a worthwhile event. Thank you.
Councilor Forback.
Well, I love it that we're going to be hearing from the Downtown Beloit Association, because when I was thinking about comments that I wanted to make today, I live in the Phoenix Apartments in downtown Beloit, and I just want to give a shout out to the fabulous rejuvenation of our older buildings that's happening across the street from the Phoenix apartment buildings. First of all, it was the Villager, and they did, am I right, tuck pointing? Is that the phrase? And it was, took a long time, and that's an old building, and it looks wonderful. And really, hats off to Beloit College. I can't tell you the time and the people who have been down there working on that Hulbert building. It's going to be wonderful. And I have to say, as a community person, it took me a while when the first emphasis started to go onto downtown, and I didn't really understand it. What was the big thing about really rejuvenating our downtown, until I'm not sure who it was finally got through to me and said, it's because your downtown is your one thing in your city that is uniquely yours. It is it's the heart of our city. So I thought that finally got to me, and I realized it. And there are people right now spending not only money, but time and passion keeping it beautiful. So thanks.
Councilor Prescio.
Well, I've been kind of quiet this last few months. We're ramping up for Christmas downtown, and I have enjoyed some hiking with my wife. Keeping her happy is a very important thing, just like keeping our citizens happy. It's all very important. She's the first vote I have to win, and you know how hard that can be. Anyway, we had a nice meeting at the Merrill Community Center. Thank God she doesn't watch these shows. We had a nice meeting.
They are replayed, though.
On YouTube. So we had a nice meeting at the Merrill Community Center to pick out a new playground. That's always a fun thing to do. And the Merrill Community Center's got some good stuff going on. We had our monthly What the Tech last week, another well-attended event with 9 people. After the first of the year, I'm going to expand it to include Merrill Community Center. I'm going to do one Monday at Grille and one Monday at on my off Mondays at the Merrill Community Center, hopefully, because it's so popular and there's so many people out there with questions that need answers. So it's a fun time. Had 2 people come this last one, just sit around and watch, and enjoyed learning something, and they found it very entertaining. I was quite encouraged. I said, bring your tech next time. Anyway, but that was a good meeting, and otherwise it's been pretty quiet. We had the BJSO Halloween concert, you want to call it that, with Frankenstein at the Eclipse Center, which was well attended. Beautiful site. They've really improved the acoustics in that place, and that was well done. going back to my wife, I got her to volunteer for that. That's an achievement. So anyway, I hope everybody understands how difficult the budget process has been. And again, I thank the staff for everything they've done and the time they put in to make it understandable. Having read other cities' budgets in the process of researching it, it's always amazing how easy it is to digest what I'm given here compared to reading about Superior, Wisconsin or something. They're just not in the same ballpark. It's amazing work you guys do. So I will save the rest for later. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Duncan.
Am I on now?
You are now.
Okay, yeah. I have to write everything down because if I don't, when I start talking, I'll forget what I'm saying. That's what happens with age, right? First, I want to announce that Beloit Health System raised over $104,000 for United Way. So many children and families in our community will get the services that they need in order to be productive. And then next, I want to thank our city manager, our finance director, Eric Miller, and the city staff for their work on the budget. As a council, we met at the Beloit Public Library for a workshop where we had further discussion about the budget and gave comments. And then we also had members from the public that were able to add in. Also, I attended the community conversation meeting at the Beloit Rotary Center on Thursday, October 26th, to discuss how to help young adults with disabilities to have a successful career path. While I was at that event, I also had the opportunity to learn more about the Loaves of Success project at the high school. This program enables students with intellectual disabilities to run a free laundry program and provide clean clothes for youth who are financially challenged. The School District of Beloit gives a laundry bag and an identification bag, and an identification tag, to those who are in need. And the students that participate wash the clothes. It's a win-win project. Students are learning job skills while providing a valuable volunteer service to fellow students who need it the most. The only thing is there's a cost involved for the laundry detergent and for the day-to-day usage of the machines. So I would like to encourage citizens to please consider donating to the project. It's called Loaves of Success. You can call the high school and contact Lori Lange, who is a special educator there. Also, I went to the Rock County Breakfast on Wednesday, November 1st, along with our city manager, and participated in the YWCA's Rock County Racial Justice Conference, along with Beth and also Sherry. I would like to thank Angela Moore, the executive director, and Vicki Brown for their efforts to build bridges to dismantle racism. I really enjoyed Judge Everett Mitchell's presentation. He is a Dane County judge throughout the week, and a pastor of Christ Solid Rock Baptist Church on Sunday. He talked about trauma facing our children, especially with the children of color, and how he recreates a narrative of trust in his courtroom to combat recidivism, as well as his own story, which was a lesson for all who were in attendance. The judge spoke about having a huge heart for our youth, which brings to mind love. I want to share that I was disheartened to hear about another mass shooting this morning in Texas. Let's all do better at conquering hate and spread more love. Let's pray that these kind of incidents of violence will stop. And let's keep all the children and families affected in our thoughts and prayers. Also, Veterans Day is coming up, November 11th. You can see the American flags all over our beautiful city. Many heartfelt thanks to our veterans for their service to our country and for the sacrifices that they make for our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple things as well. As Councilor Blakely said, I attended the NAACP banquet, and it was a wonderful speaker. She did a wonderful job. I think what stuck out to me the most, and she said a lot of great things, but it's always amazing to me how individuals come from other places, other cities, other states, and talk about what a great city Beloit is. And she just didn't mention that once, but she complimented the citizens and the city for how it was and the friendliness of the people that we have here. And I know I sound sometimes like a broken record when I continue to say that, but I think it's important for our citizens to understand that people that live outside of Beloit, they see what we have here. And a lot of times if you're in there every single day, you don't see it because we're here. we live it every day. But I want to congratulate the entire city for making people outside of the city feel special, valued, and that's what it's all about. So I say that over and over again to continue to let the citizens know that we have a great city and we have great people in the city that's doing great things, and I just want to make sure that you know it is being recognized. So if you're on any committees and you're always pushing forward and saying, I wonder if I'm helping Beloit at all, I want you to know that it is definitely being noticed. The other thing is I'll be also speaking at the NAACP for their meeting this Thursday at 6, kind of following up with a meeting that me and Vice President Duncan attended before. They had a few questions, so I'm just going to go back and follow up with that. But we also, along with Vice President Duncan's comments about the mass shooting, we also want to remember the officer in Rockford that was shot and killed as well. And it goes to show you that police officers, firefighters, and not only those two groups, but nowadays anybody who has a job outside doing anything, how dangerous it is to go to work. So it behooves us, as Vice President Duncan said, appreciate what you have around you, love on the people that's around you, because you never know. I'm not going to make this a somber moment, but I think sometimes we take things for granted and we say it's going to be here tomorrow, this person may be here tomorrow. You just never know. So as Vice President Duncan has said, let's spend more time trying to show love and appreciation and working together in that community spirit and that love for one another versus seeing which ways we can tear each other down. So I think that's very important as we look at the times in which we live, because our younger generation is looking to us. And however we act is how they're going to kind of act. So we need to just a little side note there. And with that, that's all the comments that we have. We move to item 11, which is city manager's presentation, and we don't have any. Item 12 is report from boards and city officers. 12A, please.
12A is a resolution approving an assignment and consent of the development agreement between the City of Beloit, the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, Josie Enterprises LLC, Chicago Fittings Corporation, and A.Y. McDonald CF Incorporated.
Yankee.
Good evening. On December 16, 2014, the City of Beloit, the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation, Chicago Fittings, and Josie Enterprises entered into a development agreement. That agreement set forth the terms and conditions that created the incentives for Chicago Fittings to move their manufacturing operations from Northern Illinois to Beloit's Gateway Business Park. To date, the company has exceeded all the performance requirements specified in the development agreement, particularly those relating to square footage, private investment, job creation, and job retention. Joe Tarquini, who is the owner of the company, is selling both the business and the real estate to a company called A.Y. McDonald out of Dubuque, Iowa. However, with that sale, Mr. Tarquini will remain president of Chicago Fittings. In order to finalize this transaction, the city needs to approve an assignment and consent of the development agreement that will transfer the rights and responsibilities to the new owner. The existing performance requirements for job retention will remain in effect through 2024, and the city will continue to make its required DDI payments through the same time period. Furthermore, the sale may result in accelerated plans to do an expansion of the property and may result in the creation of some additional new jobs. Therefore, staff sees no reasonable reason to deny the request, and staff is recommending approval of the resolution. I'd be happy to take any of your questions.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Forbeck. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. 12B, please.
12B is a resolution establishing a steering committee to facilitate the update of the 2008 City of Beloit Comprehensive Plan and approving an update process and public participation.
Ms. Christensen.
So the city's comprehensive plan was approved in 2008. We went through a long public process to approve that document. The state law requires all of our zoning actions to be consistent with that plan, and also requires that it be completed at least once every 10 years. In 2018, we're coming up on that 10-year anniversary, I guess. And so it's time to kind of begin doing that. What we're proposing for our process is, once you approve the steering committee, that will be meeting on a regular basis with the steering committee with the goal to bring something back to you, I believe, in April, It will go through Plan Commission, followed by a 30-day public review, and then it will come back to you for ultimate approval. The process is outlined in this resolution, which discusses beginning meeting bi-weekly, following the approval of the steering committee, doing a community visioning workshop, using the website, social media accounts, existing ones, to get the word out, to do a public survey, written or electronic, and then we'll make, once we get the draft plan done, we'll make all of that available to the public, and both on the third floor of City Hall and at the public library and through the website and social media accounts. We'll hold at least one community open house while drafting the plan update. So our goal is really to kind of engage the public. If there's a complete list of the steering committee, which is pretty large. When we started to get closer to the state, we started to kind of identify what issues were going on in the community. The Planning and Building Services Director, Drew Pennington, organized a housing conference, which some of you attended. We're seeing some trends in housing, increase in sales, increase in values, lack of maybe some quality housing for sale, a variety of different issues that came up. So the chapters we're really looking to focus on are housing and land use. And also as part of the NARSA, we did realize that there's still a lot of poverty, there's still a lot of issues that we have to deal with in our neighborhoods. So this plan will give us an opportunity to kind of get into that a little bit more. I mean, we did some of that in the NARSA. This is a citywide plan. So this resolution is on your agenda, which will then ultimately appoint the steering committee members, which does include 3 plan commissioners, 1 council rep, and city staff. And then it will kick off this public process to amend the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 12B? Motion by Jacobson, second by Duncan. Any questions, comments? Councilor Preschel.
What? The people that are listed on the, for appointment to this group, are they able to make the meetings, and if are there contingency plans if they are not?
They have committed, I'm going to look at Drew, but I think they've committed to attend. We reached out, so we had a group of people that came to the housing conference. We reached out to them to see how many of them wanted to participate in this process. Drew came to Plan Commission. We got a couple extra members from Plan Commission. And so they did make the commitment to meet bi-weekly. So it is a huge group, so if we don't get a few people showing up, that's still a huge group of people for a steering committee. So I think
you're trying to get representative sample from a large quantity of the stakeholders in the city as a whole.
We were trying to get business interests, resident interests. We were trying to get people who represented minority groups, different genders, different age ranges. So we were trying to get a good mix of who is in our community. We have, Matt Finnegan of the role of a landlord and a plan commissioner. There's some people who fit both, many have many roles. We all wear many hats. But I think it's a big enough group that if we had a handful of people that couldn't make some meetings, I think we're still okay. It's not like we have a group of 10. And if half of them dropped out, we're dealing with 5 people. I mean, this is a pretty large group for a committee. And
it's huge.
I think the biggest challenge is going to be keeping everybody moving along. And not having, getting too bogged down in the details. So, I mean, I feel comfortable that with this size of group we're going to do, they'll do a very good job. We've got a lot of people who are willing to commit some time, and, we've got engineers and architects and business leaders and people from all different facets of our community.
There was just the one, the Latino representative, there was just the one name on that list, and that all of a sudden I was like, what happens if she can't be a part of it? Do you have an alternative or something like that? That's that would be a component I'd definitely want to be concerned about, having inclusion, and so anyway, that was why I asked.
Okay.
Councilor Blakely.
Julie, are you the spearhead behind this that will keep it all moving?
Well, it is Drew. Drew will be in charge. I'm on the committee, but Drew will be the one who will be facilitating this and keeping us moving forward.
Okay, excellent. And before I saw the list of everyone on the steering committee, I would have said, let's be sure and publicize this really, really well. And look at the people you've brought in from all different parts of the community. It's very impressive. The plan looks extremely well organized.
Thank you.
The question I have, will we get periodic updates on how it's going when we're meeting, or are we just going to just say we're meeting and that's it? Because I think as we do things, I think it'd be nice that once we approve them, we approve these committees, that at some time come back and kind of get a follow-up and say, here's how things are going, and not wait for like a year or two to come back and say, here's what we.
We're coming back in about April with
Okay.
a plan amendment, so
Okay.
you're not going to go a whole year.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I just think if we can get, even if it's not a formal presentation, something
Yeah,
in the packet or something, just
Yeah,
kind of say,
the-
here's what's going on.
Yeah,
so.
the plan was, the plan was to start meeting biweekly and hopefully have something before, I think, Plan Commission at the latest in April, and then coming forward to council after that.
Okay.
If you want, we can provide periodic updates as you would
Yeah,
like them.
and I think if we do that and include them in our packet, we don't, it doesn't have to be a formal presentation, but at least we know what's going on and what the process is going, yeah.
Minutes or whatever,
Yeah.
they're going back and forth, just include
Yeah.
us in the mailings for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval?
There's one on the floor, Jacobson and Duncan.
There's one on the floor. Okay, all those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. That's that age thing Regina was talking about. 12C, please.
12C is a resolution approving a 2018 home investment partnership budget.
Ms. Christensen.
So we receive an annual allocation of home dollars through the consortium agreement that was approved in 2016 for starting in 17. As a result of that agreement, what we're anticipating, and we know the federal budget is still not approved and final, is that our share would be about $120,000, which is would be down about 10% from 17, because that's what we're anticipating in terms of a cut. And that the administrative share would be $13,285. The administrative share is used to pay for staff salaries and administrative costs related to running the program. We also anticipate using about $69,730 in 2017 program income. HUD changed the rules and allowed us to earn income one year and use it the next. And then we still have some older money available because we'd had a lot of repayments as houses were sold. We got paid off on our loans. And so the recommendation we got out of CDA, which was presented to you at your last meeting, would be to use up to $120,000 in the total funds allocated for 2018 for owner-occupied rehab loans, with the remaining balance to be used for our acquisition rehab project, which would come back through this board as approval. If we move forward with the project, it would come back. The actual house would come back through a public process here. We did put a notice in the Beloit Daily News announcing the 30-day review period. No comments were received. No one spoke at your public hearing, but it is on your agenda for action tonight.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 12C? Motion by Jacobson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Forbeck. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of item 12C say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. 12D, please.
12D is a resolution approving the 2018 Community Development Block Grant and Annual Action Plan.
Ms. Christensen.
So there are two things that you approve as part of the resolution. One is this huge plan, which is a template created by HUD. And it is an annual plan, and so it is really business as usual from the 5-year plan that was approved in 14. So there's not major changes in there. It is kind of business as usual. However, the budget is kind of business as usual, but not completely. On July 3rd it says 2018. July 3rd of 2017, City Council established local funding priorities with public service programs which focus on comprehensive case management strategies, with priority given to neighborhood stabilization activities, education and budgeting and life skills, employment training that corresponds with local employment opportunities and activities which meet one of the NARS objectives, and then code enforcement, housing rehab, and economic development activities with priority given to technical job training and small business development, and then program admin and fair housing. On September 27th, 2018, the CDA did recommend the annual action plan and CDBG budget. They also did have a very long meeting in August where they heard from all the applicants and heard all the presentations. And then you had your public hearing on October 16th, and then on October 23rd, City Council held a workshop and made some minor modifications to the public service allocations. Well, they suggested them, I guess. They didn't make them, but they suggested some changes, which are in your packet tonight as part of your budget. There were just really some minor changes, decreasing slightly Meals on Wheels in order to allow for, and decreasing to allow for funding some extra money for community action. There's extra money for Latino Service Providers Coalition, and as part of this. So there was really some minor moving around of the money behind your annual action plan in your packet. I didn't see it at first, so that's why I'm pointing it out. There is an actual list of all the applications, and it does show the grant dollars requested, the staff proposal, the CDA proposal, and then ultimately what came out of the workshop. So both of these are on your agenda for action tonight. This is a estimate of what we think we'll get from the feds, although the original allocation was zero. For the introduced budget, our understanding is that they were looking at a 10% decrease in funding, which when they run the formula, we'll see where we land. So we have budgeted a 10% decrease in the grant dollars, and then there's also a decrease in program income as well, due to the rental registration revenue no longer being included in the CDBG budget. So this budget is on your agenda for action tonight.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve item 12D? Motion by Anderson. Is there a second? Second by Duncan. Any questions, comments? Councilor Blakely?
Only about those date changes. That's listed as being part of your presentation. They will be changed to 2017, right, under the key issues, items 2 and 3. 2018 was used several times in there.
I don't know that is it in the resolution incorrectly?
It's just in the reports and presentations, so maybe that doesn't matter.
Right,
I
so
just wanted to double check.
Right, so I checked, the resolution is correct. The staff report did have 2018 versus 2017.
Very good.
But I think that was verbally corrected, and so we all understand what's being approved. But thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for being so nitpicky.
No, I'm actually usually very nitpicky about stuff like that, but I was looking at Lori because I didn't think that once a packet was published, I didn't know that we would modify it, so.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay.
Councilor Duncan?
Okay.
I didn't know what we normally did, so.
Councilor Duncan?
I just wanted to make clarification, Julie, that in this report, there were agencies in there that we're funding that assist people who are homeless, including women with no children that are homeless.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make a mention of that. And then second, I just want to say thank you so much. And I know I had to recuse myself a few times, and so I just want to thank you for taking time to go through the proposal so I would be prepared to be able to make an informed decision. So thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none there, I believe there is a motion and a second on the floor. All those that are in favor of approving item 12D, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. 12E, please.
12E is a resolution approving the 2018 Business Improvement District Operating Plan and Budget. And in front of you, you do have a copy.
Thank you. Mrs. Elamine.
Thank you. Sorry, I am sick again this year. I think this happens every single year when I come here. Sorry.
I think we need to look into this. I mean, I think for the last couple of years, every time she comes down here, she's claiming she's sick. Now,
I am. Can
know.
I go in August
sure.
or something, when times are good?
Right, sure.
It was the fun with lights. That's what did it. So first, I just want to say thanks to Beth for helping last Wednesday. It was a lot of fun. We do have fun, so you guys are invited every year if you ever want to come and play with light bulbs. It's really fun. And thanks to Nancy for the kind words. We love our downtown, of course, so we're always happy when everybody else notices, too. So I just want to start by saying a few things about what we've done in 2017 to give you guys an update. I only come once a year, so this is just my way of giving you an update on us as well as the budget. So this year, to date, we've welcomed 14 new businesses, one of which is the Y, which is a huge addition to downtown, so we're very happy for that. We've had over $161,000 of private investment, and that's just what is reported to us. Unfortunately, we don't get all those dollars. We do have Betsy's renovation in there, thank you. And then Celeb, we don't have the final numbers on that, but that is coming still this year as well. We give out $4,500 a year to facade grants, and this year we have given out all of those dollars. That actually doesn't happen regularly. I can go back many, many years, and that hasn't happened for a long time. So that's really great that we're giving out those facade improvement dollars, one of which was jewelry by Christopher. And then sign grants this year, so far we've only given out $500, but signs really only come when new businesses come. So we're trying to encourage some of our newer businesses to get sign grants. So we have a few on the table. We do budget $2,000 a year for those grants as well. And then we do offer over 50 days of events. This year, we did partner with Beloit to do the first ever wine walk, which was very successful. We sold out on tickets. We were selling 300, and they were all sold by that morning, so that was really awesome. And we did continue the SNAP program at the farmers market. That is a great benefit to our community. Many people don't know that it is available at the farmers market, but our vendors and our customers alike both love that we offer that. We will definitely be continuing that in the future. And then, of course, we continue our beautification program. The Fun with Lights, those all will be going up this week, as well as all of the rest of our holiday decorations. So keep looking for that this week. So on to our budget. You have a resolution before you that is talking about what we plan to change in our budget this year, which is we would like to increase our bid rate by 10% and also increase our cap. Currently, in past 10 years, that has been 3.88 per thousand, and the cap has been 3,000 for several of those years as well. So we would like to raise that to 4.27 per thousand and increase the maximum, or the cap, I'm sorry, to $3,500. So with that, you can see that our revenue, not including the assessment, would be $194,502. Our estimated carryover would be a little over $30,000. Our net assessment would then be $130,000. Our total income then would be $355,000. And as you can see from the expenses, we're not looking to increase anything over last year. So if you were on the council last year, these numbers are pretty standard for that. Our organization is a little over $126,000. Our economic restructuring is now economic vitality. But what that is to bring people downtown and to support our businesses. So some of the dollars we use that for our brochures that we put in all of our area hotels. And those go very much like crazy. So I'm printing those all the time. So that we did increase about $150, but not much. The design committee is in charge of beautification throughout downtown. And then our promotions committee is involved with over the 50 days of events that we talked about. And then that does include salary of the promotions coordinator as well. Just wanted to point that out. So our expense total would be a little over $306,000. We would be trying to have about $50,000 as carryover for the following year. Our board has said that we would like to have at least 3 months of operating expenses covered as carryover, which would be about $75,000. So that's where we're getting that number from. And as you can see in our report, next year we turn 30 years old in April next year. So that's a very big deal for us, and we're hoping that next year we celebrate it wildly and put everything, saying the 30th annual everything. So we'll be doing that. And on October 24th, our board did approve the budget. So that is in your report as well. Any questions about that?
Let's get a motion in a second to at least get it on the floor. Is there a motion for approval?
I so move.
Motion by Forback, is there a second? Second by Duncan. Any questions or comments? Councilor Preschel.
I just want to say thanks. Thanks, Sean. I almost live downtown, except I don't get to sleep there. Maybe that's good.
We could arrange that.
That might happen. Christmas is coming. Yeah, busy time. Anyway, you know, I at the board meeting, I wasn't sure, if this was a big jump to go to the 10% versus, some other number, and I had zero feedback saying anything bad about the idea. So I'm okay with it, and I wanted you to know that publicly and make sure you knew that.
Thank you.
But and hopefully maybe if we get a little cushion in there somewhere, we can finally get some new Christmas decoration lights things, some that don't burn out and have to be replaced. I'm very sorry I didn't make the meeting, but it turned out I had to get home. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that we can do something like that so that when my son comes home for Christmas, he doesn't go, "Do you still have those same Christmas tree lights downtown? Really, Dad? Come on." So hopefully we can get somewhere with that in the near future, and it'd be nice, and modernize it and update it like we've updated the rest of downtown. Really good job. Got to have another sip and stroll. Got to have a couple of them.
Yeah. Next year.
Thanks a lot.
Anyone else? I do have a couple questions. A while back, you came to us because you're applying for a grant, I believe, earlier. Can you update us on that?
We were not actually gone past the application process. We were denied. They switched their gears and would like to focus on children's education, being the top priority.
Okay. And then the second thing is, I was going to announce it in my comments, but coming up to the downtown area for everyone's delight is the great holiday parade, the Friday after Thanksgiving. So if you want to go downtown and watch the parade in the cold, it's an exciting time. Really, I started doing it a few years ago, and now it's become, I go there every year and freeze and look for the hot chocolate. But it is a great time. You see a lot of kids out there, and it's a fun time. So I wanted to make sure that we put that out there. That's the Friday after Thanksgiving. Is it 6?
It starts at 6 o'clock. Yep. Santa arrives at 6, so make sure you get there early if you want to get a good place to view him.
Okay. Any other questions for Shauna? There's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approval of this say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 7-0. We move to item 12F, please.
It's a resolution approving the operating budgets, appropriating funds, and levying property taxes necessary for the operation and administration of the City of Beloit for the year 2018, including the 2018 capital improvement budget, the Beloit Public Library budget, and further authorizing the city clerk treasurer to allocate the city property tax along with the apportionment certified for other jurisdictions upon the current tax roll of the city.
Mr. Miller.
Good evening. So we began the budget process back in April when we started the capital improvement process. That's just kind of tells you how long we've actually been working on the budget. We have then since had many meetings with the city manager, as well as department heads and division directors. And that allowed us then to be able to present to you a budget on October 2nd, I think was our first meeting in October. And then we since had a council workshop at the Beloit Public Library. And then 3 weeks ago today, we had a public hearing. And so before you tonight is the final resolution to approve or adopt the 2018 operating and capital improvement budget.
Okay, we can get a motion and a second to at least get it on the floor for discussion. Motion by Blakely, second by Duncan. Any questions or comments? I would like to make a comment, seeing none. Over the last several months, our lives, staff's lives, employees' lives have been consumed with budget. First of all, as Councilor Presho stated earlier, I would like to thank the city manager, the staff, the department heads, anyone who had anything to do with this budget process. This is one of the things that every year as a council we get to do. Is it a fun thing to do? Not all the time. When you look at the funds that we have to allocate, when you look at the dollars that we have to deal with, and then year after year it's decreasing or we're not getting what we thought, decisions have to be made. It's not an easy decision by any means. When we sit in the workshop, we do have fruitful conversations with staff, amongst each other, and we lay it all on the table. I must also pause and say, I thank each of the citizens, employees who have called us who have emailed us, who have sent us written communication, expressing your interest, your opinions on this process. I want everybody to know that that does not go unnoticed. Even though sometimes we may not get back to you, when we come together as a group, I guarantee you those conversations take place. Counselors are always saying, I got a communication. They don't give the name, but they say, I got a communication about this. So Mr. Miller, the city manager, council people, we talk about it. So this is something that we take very seriously, and I want everybody to kind of understand that. So as we go through the process and we get the information and we look at it, we're having the same questions that some of you have. As it relates to positions, not filling positions, we have those same questions. Why are we filling this position, and why are we not filling these positions? So the questions you have are the same questions we have, and those questions we do ask. I wanted to say all that because in this budget process, I truly believe that either way it goes, there's going to be people that's not going to be pleased. And I just have to put, there's going to be people that's not going to be pleased. There may be council people that say, you know what, I'm not really 100% pleased with it, but I know it's the best that we can do. Each year we give directives to staff to bring us a responsible budget. What that means is they simply have to exhaust all the options. And trust me when I say this, if they come to us with something that we do not believe is responsible, or we don't believe that it's their best effort, we do send them back to the table and say, we're not happy. And the city manager is sitting here, Mr. Miller is sitting here, and I'm sure that they would agree. And if I'm saying something that's not true, please jump in and let me know. But there's times that we send them back and say, we're not comfortable. So I want to make sure that individuals know that we don't take this lightly. To Councilwoman Jacobson, who came in late in the game, she has the experience of being here before, so she was bringing in questions to make sure that we get what we need and what we think is best for the city, because truly we're down here for what's in the best interest of the city. I think if we all had our way, we would say, you know what, just give everybody what they want. But we know that that's not possible. There's, in my opinion, and it's my opinion only, that I feel that everybody who's employed by the city is important. Every department is important. But when we go through the budget process, I've said it before when I was on the council before, and I say it again, we have to put everything on the table. And when I say everything, that's every department, everything on the table to make sure we treat everybody fairly. If Mr. Miller is lobbying for 4 positions and we give him the 4 positions, but we don't give them to Mr. Yankee's department, and I'm just using these people for examples, not saying this is what we're going to do, to me that's showing some inconsistency. So we have to look at the entire organization and seeing what we can do with the dollars that we have. I say all of that to say this before we go to the vote. Council members, we've had workshops. Out of that workshop, we had questions. After those questions, I directed each one of you that if you have individual questions, call staff. Get them hashed out before we get to this point. I thank you all because you did that. There's times that I know you contacted staff, you know you've had questions. As I said, the last few months, this is what consumed our lives, and this is why we're here. We have to make an impact on the city. So I just wanted to put that out there, thanking staff again for a job well done, thanking the employees, and thanking you for your feedback. But do not take that if we do not vote in the way that you want it to go, that we did not listen to you. It's a huge process. There's a lot of moving pieces. We have to look at all the moving pieces. We had new counselors who we had to bring up to speed and educate on all of the different funds. Well, why can't we do this? Well, that doesn't come out of this fund. That comes out of this fund. So it's a big educational piece. So from the outside looking in, you could say they're adding 3 positions, but they're saying they don't have any money. Well, those positions could be coming out of a different fund. So all of that needs to be taken into consideration. But I just want to, as president of this council, thank my colleagues, thank the city manager, thank the staff, but I cannot thank the citizens and the employees enough, because truly, your voice, we listened. Now, we may not go with what you asked for or what you said, but we listened. And I guarantee you, some of you have very strong voices, and I appreciate that. So with that being said, are there any other questions or comments? Councilor Preschel.
I was just going to reiterate the appreciation I have for the way the budget's put together, and I have looked at other cities' budgets because people are always throwing comparisons out there, and I get a little frustrated with that because I think we're unique enough, and I don't think that's a bias. I think we really are in a unique position here and unique challenges, and meeting those challenges is really hard. And you just look at some of our other taxing districts in our area, I won't mention any names, and you guys have done a heck of a job this year keeping it where it is. I would love to have seen a zero levy increase, but gosh, you got really close with what you had to work with, considering all the things that went into making that possible. I mean, with the valuations, the property values, and our unique problems that we face geographically. And so I would love to see us be able to hold that line, but we can't and move forward. We can't just back off of the challenge and not do these things. We've got to put the money up, and we've got to keep it going, because we're not going to get better if we back off and let it get worse. And that's the only thing. That's why I'm here to make sure that we're moving this along. And I really appreciate what the city manager's been done in prioritizing what we need to do. And we're going to have rough years, we're going to have better years, et cetera. And we got a couple good years coming here, a couple years from now, I think, considering what's happening this year with the builds and stuff. So, I solicited a lot of feedback. I got exactly 0. I did get some emails, but I didn't get any on the actual, the Facebook posts, the meetings and stuff like that. I got nothing from anybody saying, don't do this. I heard a lot about other taxing bodies in our area, but not this one. And I referred people to the 456-page budget document, which you can all enjoy. Imagine it's a nice read, especially when you have to decipher all the jargon to go with it. And you want, that's your final exam as a city councilor, as far as I'm concerned. And I've done it twice now, and it gets easier. But you guys make it a lot easier than it could be. Believe me, reading Superior Wisconsin's budget book was, whoa. Anyway, tiny letters, and my eyes aren't that good. Anyway, you guys did a really good job, and I don't see anything except that we have to move forward with this, and I appreciate what you did. Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns? Seeing none, I believe there is a motion and a second on the floor for approval. Correct? All those in favor of approving, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes 6-0. Item 13, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Preschel, second by Duncan. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we adjourn.